in the way we think, psychology and whatever. So you'll find that you're giving your opinion as a woman, but the man has that particular idea in his head.
Yeah.
He's not seeing your opinion, but he's seeing what the Bible is saying. He's saying, keep quiet, because the Bible says
you keep quiet.
You have to submit in everything and highlights everything.
But did he finish the sentence? Keep quiet in the church. Talk at home. You are now at home.
No, when you try, when a woman tries to say, to clarify, because also as God has given us the
brain, yes,
of the Bible.
Yeah.
But they want to put it in their own form, and that thing, to say the truth, women may not talk, but it is bringing most problems in their homes.
I think it's what is it called? Hermeneutics? Is it called hermeneutics? You're the one who did Bible school. You didn't do hermeneutics. Hermeneutics is the science of biblical interpretation. Yes. And when you start interpreting the Bible from your angle, it's not the Bible you're interpreting. Yes. You must allow the Bible, 3 things I was taught. Observe, what is it saying? Interpret, what did it mean to the past people who read? Apply, how does it apply to you? So when you jump interpretation to apply, that's what is happening in your discussion between a wife and a husband. So you need to start moving aside, return back to biblical interpretation, and find out how would the first reader have seen it. And of course, like now, it is very clear to me that passage was about church life. So it's not about home. In fact, the woman was told, when you reach there, ask him. So how can you apply something clearly written for home, and you are written for church, and you are applying at home? It's because the observation stage did not go right. So the solution now lies, and that's why counselors are important, is some of those things you need a couple, friend of yours, whom your husband and yourself regard very highly. And then you bring up a subject. What does this verse mean? Your spouse might not listen to you, but you will listen to the other couple. She would have helped you. Yeah. But even better still, belong to a couple's fellowship, where those kind of things can be discussed. I call it group therapy, where you are not asking a question, you're not talking to me, you are talking to us. Lakini, I'm hearing. And you have helped the marriage without necessarily, because your husband may not see a problem. Counseling for what? It is you who needs counseling. So, taking for group therapy, where the matter will be discussed, and you hear. Apende? Asipenda, whether he likes it or not, you hear. Yes, over at the back, then I come to you.
Prof, I have a suggestive question.
Go ahead.
We were looking at factors that hinder health development in our community.
Yes.
Based on what you taught us,
can
we include marriage as the major cause of health?
Yes. I'm in agreement with you.
Yes, because the men you see here are sick, not because of environmental factors,
home factors.
Because of marriage.
Studies, in agreement with you, studies have shown. They listed the stressors.
Yes.
Some of the biggest stress covered by all researchers. The biggest stress is divorce. Nobody suffers a bigger stress than when they are going through divorce.
Yes.
That tells you you are right.
Yes, so we include
but then you don't need to include it, because you have found a solution. So you don't have to reach there. And if your husband is here and your wife is here, you are scared. They have had, isn't it? So why do they want you to go to hospital? Just follow what you have discussed, and nobody needs to go to hospital.
Prof, I'm a pastor.
Yes.
For many years.
Yes.
And we are conducting burial.
Yeah.
The leading cause of death of men nowadays is prostate cancer. And when you look at the causes, wrong marriage, And we spend a lot of money going to the oncologist.
Yeah, by the time they are dying, they have used a lot of money.
Yes.
And the solution, actually, I don't know whether Daktari would agree that in a hospital, a big proportion of people there are suffering from psychosomatic diseases. Diseases that began with some psychological issues. Daktari, am I right? Is the man right?
Number one, there are many, yeah, I'm going to do three things. I don't know if I
Now he is asking a medical question.
There are many things that are psychological and emotional at their roots. We don't always properly attribute them. One of the things we're seeing in our own work at the community level is the huge stress that's growing related to debt. Okay? People are borrowing money through their phones and they're really stressed out.
Unable to pay.
They can't pay. Now, can that kind of stress cause you to have a stomachache, a headache, be tired all the time, get depressed, but you don't want to call it depression because that's not nice. So yes, indeed, and we are seeing an epidemic increase in anxiety and depression here in Kenya. It's radically rising. Second, I do have to separate that not all of the things we suffer from is caused by psychological stress. Okay? If you got bad allergies and it makes you wheeze, your asthma isn't, you may get stressed when you can't breathe. Okay? If you have diabetes, it may be worse when you're stressed.
But it did not cause
But
it.
it didn't cause your diabetes. Okay? So sometimes we give illness too much credit, and sometimes we give mental, emotional, psychological things too little credit. It's safer to say I have a stomachache than to say I am afraid.
And my wife is responsible.
And my
So the point you are making, I think Daktari has agreed. Without agreeing which percentages, there are many sicknesses that are caused by stresses. In fact, I was asking a doctor, but how do you relate the fact that the guy is going to the toilet and producing blood with a dot in the head? I said, yes, a dot in the head can get you stomach cancers and you go and produce blood in the toilet. And the whole cause was not a germ or a virus. It was simply disagreement with your wife. So if you don't want to go to hospital, start talking nicely to her. It means that, like I suggested, belong to a group, a marital group, where the group therapy can be allowed. Are we together? So that you can gain and help each other. But most important, before you go for group therapy, learn that your responsibility to talk nicely to your spouse, your responsibility to make him feel have a good self-image, without thinking, but is he doing it to me? Because there is nothing in the Bible requiring tit for tat. Scratch my back, I scratch back. You are supposed to love your wife. It doesn't say if she respects you. You just love her if she is your wife. You're supposed to respect your husband. It doesn't say if you love or whatever he provides. You love them. Are we together? That does not mean you don't tell people they are failing in their duty. But you must tell them in a loving way. And if they continue, counseling is still a very important thing we need to take in. And that's why pastors exist. The trouble is, if the pastor's marriage is in trouble and he is expected to help others, Can you see why it is good to come for a retreat here? Yeah, because obviously they are supposed to be helpful. Who wants to be the last one? And you are the last, you are the final.
So I have questions.
Yeah.
One is directly related to the discussion.
Yeah.
And the other one is kinda.
And yeah.
So one is the point that you said about having purpose in life and how it makes marriage cement a marriage.
Yeah.
There are times you get married and that purpose is not very clear. Or sometimes
For both of you.
For both of you, and sometimes you don't. So I know you said you've written a book on it, but can you give us some tips towards working to agree together and to find a purpose?
Number one, you can't start talking about a family purpose statement before you have your personal statement. So the first thing is to find out, why did God create me? I normally ask people to write about 6 speeches. Think about your birthday at age 18 and listen to people. You are still in your 20s, but listen to the speeches. What do you hear them? Because at the age of 18, we are not talking about what you will do. We are talking about what you have done. What do you hear them saying? Write a speech by your wife. She'll be talking about the impact you made on her. So write down. If you write that speech, it forces you to know how to act to your wife so that you can read that speech. Am I communicating? Write one by your son. If you write it, that you hear the son saying, our father was always available, and yet you are not available. So you will change, isn't it? So write it. You write it now, in your 20s, that your son will read in when you are 80 years. When it is 80th birthday, say, by the way, I have written your speeches for you. You don't have to, if you agree with me, just read the following. One by your wife, another one by your son. Write another one. I can go on and on, but I don't want to take a lot of time in it. That exercise will help you in starting thinking. What's my purpose in life? What do I hear or have accomplished? One speech is going to be read by a pastor. Maybe not the current one because you have died. But somebody with your age. What do you hear him saying? What has been your impact in outreach and discipleship? If you hear it then you're likely to change the way you live. Sorry. The way you live now, so that the speech can be true then. Am I communicating? Yes. If you do that, you end up with about 6 or so speeches, and then you look at them and say, if I were to write one sentence that's true of all the speeches, what is it? That is your vision statement. Vision is a noun. What you have accomplished before you die. After you finish that, you now write a mission statement. Mission is a verb. What you will do to achieve the vision. And this depends on your giftings. We can have the same vision statement, but our mission statement will depend on our giftings. For example, our vision may be, in life, I want to alleviate suffering. But I have been failing my biology with chlorine colors. If you fail biology, can you become a doctor? And yet your vision is helping pain. So you have to ask, what are the gifts in me that can help to deal with pain? And if you're an economist, maybe you think about improving the economy of a village. It will help them to get fresh water. It will help them to have less diseases. So you have helped them still. But depending on your gifting. So mission is a verb, what you do, and is related with your vision. Once you have done that, in order to fulfill your purpose statement, you need now to write your core values. Normally not more than 6. Core values are dangerous because core values are non-negotiable convictions. Non-negotiable. In other words, I'm willing to be a failure in life than break this. You need them. They prevent you from going wayward. That means, if your boss says, if you sleep with me, I'll help you to go to your vision, you'd rather fail. Because your value is sexual purity. Am I communicating? Yes. So you need, now your wife is not interested, that's why it's you. What are your core values? Boundaries within which you travel to your vision. Your wife does the same. Now you put it on table. And in the process, you'll be able to bring congruence to how you can have a common vision statement without failing either of the two visions that people had. Does that help? Okay. That was, yes. Oh, you had two.
Yes, and now this one to the third gender thing.
Yeah.
And now we say that men and women are equal, but you still see the affirmative actions and even creating position for the women.
I did not see whatever a man can do, a woman can do.
Okay.
I did not say that.
Oh, but now your general comment on
Yeah.
to that gender role.
No, I do agree that we are lacking workers in many industries. Why? Because we never educated our girls. Why should we be importing girls from abroad when ours are here and they simply do not get educated? If you are doing a bigger task and you are two of you, and one of you is not doing it, you will take a long time to achieve the task, isn't it? So I'm one of the people who believes we must educate our girls. Because I believe we are equal in brains. A man is not better than a woman in the brain. So educate them. Let them do what they feel called to do. Are we together? The third gender rule is about forcing people. It's called affirmative action. Forcing people to do that. Then when I was in Shell, before I left Shell, we were actually given target. By this year, there must be at least 20% of because management was all male. We were told by this year, there must be 20% women. Why? Because of our natural bias. We grew up believing women are going nowhere. So, since that's not true, and it's not good for the economy, and it's not biblical either, we must find a way of allowing women to do what God has called them to do by equipping them. But to start the nonsense of whatever a man can do, a woman can do, a biblical person cannot go to that nonsense. There are many things a man can do, a woman cannot do. And there are many things a woman can do, a man cannot do. But there are many things both men and women could do together. I don't know what you call. Now yours was last, so this is final. Who was doing the final question?
Okay. Yeah. Maybe my question is about my wife, Labda. Maybe got a scholarship to America.
Let's assume a wife got a scholarship to America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it happened that in the same church where we are fellowshipping, that there is a lady who also got a scholarship.
Also to America.
To America.
Yeah.
And she left her husband with a daughter.
Yeah.
Then this lady never came back.
Oh.
She never came back.
But the pastor's wife came back.
No.
Both the ladies. There are two ladies who went to America.
No.
Hey.
Before my wife goes to
Oh, you are talking about a personal case?
Yeah. This
Or trying to force it to be general? Okay.
No, I'm just asking a question.
Okay. So your wife goes to America.
Yeah.
Another girl also goes to America.
She has not gone.
Okay.
My wife has not gone.
Yeah.
But the lady already has gone to America.
Yeah. And has
got
not
a
come
scholarship. And she never came back.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah.
Then my wife later also got a scholarship. So as a husband, do I agree with that thing?
Or not?
Will it affect me because of the past?
In the way of that, it affect you. But your question is, what should you do? What do I advise?
Yeah, what do I advise? 3
considerations. Is it a nice to have cause or a critical cause for her calling? In other words, if she went for the cause, will that make her really fulfill God's purpose for her life?
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to answer. I'm just giving general question considerations. That's important. Because if your wife needs to do a PhD in order to do her job like mine did, you can't say because you have not PhD, your wife should not get a PhD. Because you can see the PhD will help her in her life. Are we together? So that's the first consideration. Because God made you a steward of that girl. You cannot be the impediment to God's work in our life. Second question. Is that same course available near? If it's available near, and you cannot get a scholarship, go both of you. The answer is no, don't go. Because why go? And yet the course is available where we can still meet. Unless he's trying to run away from you. It's very important to understand it is not in your interest. Marriage is physical. Marriage is a physical thing. The Bible said, in heaven we shall be like angels. So it means you need to be together. And then there's a statement, be near the one you love, otherwise you love the one who is near. Be careful to be near the one you love, others you will be tempted to love the one who is near. And that's why it's not a very, if the first question is yes, you must answer the second one. Is it, must the person go? And in some cases the answer is yes. But the answer is no. That's not encouraged. Either get a scholarship and go both of you. Do not allow that to happen. The third question, which is important. Is it possible to delay it to a time you can go together? In other words, if you have a scholarship, you can also get a scholarship and go together. Are we together? Now, those are three questions which you need to ask. But the first one is the most important. Because the other two questions are not necessary. If the first one is just a good thing to, somebody wants to go for tourism. It's not. But there are some things that are very critical to the husband or to the wife. And it may be okay to actually go. And these days, you can talk daily, almost free of charge. It's not like the earlier before when they went to America and you could not hear for them. A snail mail used to take 2 weeks. You reply, they will get another after 1 month. But now you can talk daily. So it's possible to maintain a relationship even if the person goes abroad. But there must be a deadline. Are we together? Yeah, because marriage is physical. It is not something you do at a distance. Distance marriages are not biblically correct. My understanding of the excitement of Adam was to hold. And you can't hold somebody in America when you're in Garissa. So I think it needs to be understood that when you are separate, it must be for a very good reason. And if you think I'm not theological, just go to first letter of 1 Corinthians chapter 7. You'll hear they are being told they must be together regularly. And when they are not together, it must be for a good reason, like fasting. Are we together?
Yes.
And then it says, even then, not for too long. So the scholarship must be for a shorter period. Am I communicating? That verse is the basis for my advice. That the Word of God clearly wants you to be physically near each other. But once in a while, it may be necessary for somebody to travel. Because the answer to the other questions is yes, the other one, no. Then obviously the best thing is to allow her to go because it's important and critical for her calling. I'm not asking whether there are more questions. I'm only saying if there are, you will send them and we discuss on WhatsApp. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so let me hand over the meeting back to the owner.